Hello everyone, welcome to bisptrainings.com. My name is Sumit and I'm a subject matter expert in dynamic CRM. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate you how to set up a custom workflow activity by using Visual Studio 2012 for dynamic CRM. So before start implementing the same, first let's understand what do we mean by custom workflow. Custom workflow activity, it enables us to extend the steps available when we create a workflow. So I believe that all of you are familiar how to set up a workflow in dynamic CRM, and while setting up a workflow we got few steps, but those steps are limited steps. We cannot add our own functionality into that. So by using custom workflow activity, we can build our own custom logic, and based on that logic, that workflow can be executed. So by default, the steps which are available with workflow is we can create a step, we can add a step for creating a new record, for updating existing record, for assigning a record to a sales manager or a salesperson, to send an email, and so on. But let's suppose if I need to add a step that is not in that list, which is not available in the list, such as sending a SMS message or validating a specific field. So if those steps are not available in the default steps in the workflow, that can be achieved by building a custom workflow activity. Usually custom workflow activities are compiled in dynamic links library. It generates DLL libraries, and those DLL libraries you can share with your other team members, or you can share DLL with other users as well, and they can simply register the DLL files, those custom workflow DLL files in their application by using plugin registration tool. So let's take a scenario, and based on that scenario we will be going to build a custom workflow activity. So the scenario here is I have got a company ABC, and that company used to get many leads, and those are auto generated leads, and the company generate the leads on weekends as well. They are getting the leads on weekends, but none of their regular sales executive wants to work on weekends, so they don't have any regular sales executives, those who are able to handle those leads. So they decided to recruit it or to hire one part-time salesperson. Let's say the salesperson name is Sam, and he will be working on weekends, and any lead which will be generated, any new lead which will be generated on weekends, that would be assigned to this particular user. So by default, the steps which are available in default CRM, in default workflow in CRM, that don't have that much capability to perform some steps or to solve this issue. So by using custom workflow activity, we can set up a custom workflow activity, we can build our own custom logic, and that business logic can be added into the workflow by using plugin registration tool. So let's start building the scenario, and let's see how to create a custom workflow activity and how to register with our application. So to set up a custom workflow activity or to create a custom workflow activity, I'm going to use Visual Studio 2012. So I use Microsoft Visual Studio 2012. I'm using a professional edition. You can go with an ultimate edition as well. Click on File, New, Project, and the list which are available on the left side. From here you have to select workflow, and under workflow select activity library. You can give a name, or you can provide a name to your activity library. So in my scenario I provide a name, lead assignment, and click on OK. So it will create a new project. By default, one activity.activity1.xaml file will be available. So I delete this file because we are going to create a new class file. But before start actual implementation, I just wanted to perform 3 steps by using this custom workflow activity. First of all, I want to display record created day on lead form. Second, if created day is Sunday, then that lead will be assigned to a specific user. So these are the 2 tasks which we have to perform. So for this, I have already customized my lead entity, and in this lead entity, if you haven't added an additional field, if you haven't added a new field in that lead entity, you have to add it. So let's have a look. So that's a custom field which I have added on my lead form, lead entity, named as created day, and you can see I'm getting the day name whenever that lead was created. So this record was created on Monday, or whatever is that date, it will pull the weekday from that date and will add the day in this particular field. So we'll be going to perform the same thing. So let's get back to the Visual Studio. So the first of all, we need to add 3 libraries into it. We need to add 3 references. We need to add 3 reference libraries. So first one is right click on reference, manage NuGet package, and the first library is Microsoft.xrm.sdk. So I look for this file, Microsoft.xrm.sdk DLL file, and add as a reference in the current solution. So I install it. My next requirement is Microsoft.xrm.sdk.workflow library, DLL library. So these are the packages which are mandatory to add in your solution. And the third library is Microsoft.xrm, Microsoft.crm.sdk.proxy, and add this. And finally, one more reference library I need to add, that was system.runtime.serialization, that I can add from my local library as well. So system.runtime.serialization, which is already added. So we can have a look. So all the packages are successfully added into it: sdk.workflow, xrm.sdk, sdk.proxy, and system.runtime.serialization. And along with this, these are the default packages which will be installed, which will be added while we are creating a new solution. Now I right click on the solution and we add a new class, and the class name will be a lead assignment class. So I add a new class here, new class, and I specify a name to this, lead assignment.cs, and add it. I include the packages using Microsoft.xrm.sdk xrm.sdk.query using Microsoft.xrm.sdk using Microsoft.xrm.sdk.messages using system.activities using Microsoft.crm.sdk.messages. So these are the libraries, and now I'm going to implement one interface, and the interface name is code activity. And within this class, so first I add this class as a public class. I convert this private class into a public class so that it can be extracted from, it can be accessed from outside this solution as well. And then I'm going to override one function, and the function name is, which we need to override, is public override void execute code entity. To get the output from this function, from this class, I create one output variable. So I created one output variable named as day of the week, and this output variable will be used to return the current day, or the day when the record is created, the day name whenever the record is created, whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, based on the date, and it will display in this particular field which we have added, a custom field which we added on the lead entity. Public out argument string day of week get and set property. Then I delete this and I create one new variable, string day is equal to string dot empty, date time underscore date, date time or date is equal to date time dot minimum value. I workflow context is equal to, and because we already had a context, so that's why I change it to execution is equal to execution dot get extension I workflow context, I organization service factory is equal to execution dot get extension I organization service factory, and I organization service is equal to execution dot get extension, not this should not be get extension, this should be service factory dot create organization service context dot initializing user ID. Then because we are going to work on lead entity, so I create entity lead is equal to entity service dot retrieve lead comma context dot primary entity ID comma new, and I create a new column set, new string, and the created on bracket curly braces 1 2 and And now I'm going to check that if this lead is not blank, so if lead dot contains, if this contains this attribute created on contains, then we will be going to pull the day on the, will be going to pull the day when the record has been created. So if day is equal to date time lead dot attributes, attribute name is created on dot day of week dot to string, day of week dot to string, it will store in the to string format. And then day of week dot set, we are going to set the value execution comma day. Now I just wanted to make sure that if the day is equal Sunday, then it would not, if the day is equal Sunday, or if the record creation day is equal Sunday, then the record will be assigned to a specific user. So I just check if day equal Sunday, then it will be going to assign to a specific user. Now to assign this to a specific user, we need to first get the user ID, and also I'm going to create one more function for assigning the lead. So I create one function for getting the user ID, the current user ID, or a user ID of a specific user. So get user ID organization service, and the next function will be the assignment function. So I create one more function. This function also be a private function. So I create one more private function, private void assign lead organization service, comma GUID lead ID, which we are going to pass. So this function takes 3 parameters. So GUID user ID. So this function takes 3 parameters. First function is the service, second function is the lead ID or the newly created record, and the third function is the user ID to whom we want to assign record. Now to get the user ID, we are going to, let's create this function. So I create GUID underscore user ID is equal to GUID dot empty. Then I create condition expression. I create two condition. I'm going to create two condition expression. Condition 1 is equal to new condition expression, and condition 1 dot attribute name is equal to first name. Condition 1 dot operator equal to condition operator dot equals, and condition 1 dot values dot add. I just wanted to check if the I just wanted to extract the user ID of a specific user, and in my application I'm the only user available, so I just wanted to pull the user ID of my record, my name. So then this is first name. I want to validate, means I want to extract the user ID based on first and last name. So I just create a new last name, and this will be second condition attribute 2, and this should be equal, and I specify my name. Then I set condition one thing I missed, that is the condition expression. We need to define this as well, and this should be condition 2. So once we done, we are creating a filter expression. So I create one filter expression, filter1 is equal to new filter expression, filter1 dot conditions dot add range condition1 comma condition2. So based on these condition, I just wanted to extract. So I write query expression, query is equal to new query expression, and it will be looking for the user in system user. It will look for the record in system user. Query dot criteria dot add filter, and filter I add filter1, and collection entity call is equal to service dot retrieve multiple query, and I'll just check that if entity call dot entities dot count is greater than 0, then entity, I create a new entity named as user is equal to entity call dot entities 0. It will add into this, and also it will assign user ID. So the user ID which we defined earlier, so underscore user ID is equal to underscore user dot ID. So it will pull the ID and store into this user ID, and this user ID we are going to return. So I write a return statement, return underscore user ID. So it will return a user ID back to the function from where it will be going to call. And in this assigned lead, by getting the value, by getting this service reference, by getting this lead, by getting the lead, by getting the user ID, I'll just write here, I just create one assign request. Sorry, not in this function, I create one assign request underscore assign is equal to new assign request, or let's say instead of underscore assign, I'll say assign is equal to this assignee so right, so I'll specify, I forgot this, so we need to start a bracket here because this will go within a function. So assignee, so I specify the user ID, assignee will be this system user ID comma target is equal to new entity reference, it will be with lead comma and whatever the lead ID we got, so lead ID we received in this function over here, lead ID curly bracket close and terminate, and then service dot execute underscore or service or assign. So save and let's build it so that if any error, it will throw an error message if there is any error. So right now there are no errors, it has been built successfully. Now we are going to register it by using plugin registration tool. So I have already logged in into my plugin registration tool, and now we are going to see how to add a step or how to register the custom workflow activity by using this plugin registration tool to the current application. So click on register new assembly, look for the file, the DLL file, so it's in my C drive, users, ESP, documents, Visual Studio, project lead assignment bin debug and lead assignment dot dll. Open it, and then I simple register it by clicking on register now button. So as you can see, I'm getting an error message here while registering the selected plugin. So how to solve this issue? To solve this issue, we need to sign in our plugin. So I right click on the project, then click on properties. In properties, click on sign in and new. I'll give a name to this, new lead MENT lead assignment, and OK. And also make sure that the application, the version, the target framework version should be .NET Framework 4. So I'll save it and let's rebuild again. And now let's try it. Try registering again. Register new assembly lead assignment. So it will take some time to register. And now you can see the workflow, the plugin has been successfully registered. So I click on OK. And now we switch back to dynamic CRM and let's create a new process. So I create a new process for lead assignment. Assign lead. Then the category will be workflow. Entity will be on lead. And this will be a automated workflow process. So I click on OK. And we'll be going to do few more customization into it. First, I set the scope, change the scope to organization, and let's add a step into it. So now when I click on add step, you'll find out that the workflow, the custom workflow lead assignment, which we have created by using Visual Studio, that was added here. So I select this lead assignment. Again, I click on add step, update record, and set properties. Because as per scenario, I would like that whenever a new lead is created, it should display the current day whenever the record is created. The weekday on which the record has been created should be displayed in that particular field. So I select the created day field and look for the values. Scroll down to lead assignment day of week. You can see this day of week is same when we the output field which we created in this output field, day of week. Add it. OK. This added, save and close. Save and activate it. Activate it. So you can see the workflow has been activated. Now let's test this workflow. So I'll get to leads and I'm going to create a new lead. So as per scenario, first of all, it will be going to calculate it will be going to find out the weekday when the record is created, and if the weekday is equal to Sunday, that lead will be assigned to the user, this specific user. It means to myself. So let's create a new lead. So I create a new lead. I just enter the values, and I'll enter the names, Peter, Paul, and done. And let's save the record. And I'll leads and again click on Peter, Paul. So the workflow takes some time to execute. It may take some few seconds. So don't worry about that. It will be executed. So we can just refresh it. And you can see I got a record. I got a data here Tuesday. It means this record has been created on Tuesday, not on Sunday. So because this record has not been created on Sunday, so it will not assign to this user. But if this record was created on Sunday, then it would be assigned to that specific user. So that's how we can create a custom work. If you have any queries, if you have any questions, you can write to us on www.bisptrainings.com. You can subscribe our YouTube channel for more videos on dynamic CRM. Keep watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.